Afternoon, everybody. So thank you for coming to these lightning talks. My name's Stephen Jackson and I work for one of Nottingham's better known companies, Paul Smith, the fashion retailer. And as part of that, don't do the fashion part, mostly just the logistics of getting the clothing from the factory back to the shops. And in that, I've got the position of application team leader. And that's what my talk's about today, is about my sort of journey to become that and sort of lessons I've learned along the way. So the background. So year and a bit away, with the pandemic raging, we'd just come back from furlough, the entire company had shut down, and first Teams call of ready to get going, our manager and our tech lead both announced they were leaving to pastures new. A week later, I was called into the office and said, "You're the developer with the most experience. We're going to make you the application team leader." So almost overnight, I'd gone from having sort of just been my own person, concentrating on my own dev tickets, to then being responsible for a group of software engineers and responsible for business critical software systems. So hopefully, but this will be my experience, so hopefully if anyone else finds themselves in a similar position with leadership through no fault of their own, these tips might help you. So first tip I would give was just take a breath and think, do you really want this? Go in with your eyes open. You'll be doing a lot less development and dealing with a lot more bullshit. Is that what you want? Don't get blinded by the lights. And this is to strike when the iron's hot. The companies are not doing you a favor. You're there to help them. You've got the experience. You're a good opportunity. So yes, this is when you do the salary negotiations. This is when you've got to strike, because we all know in corporate, 2 months goes to 4 months to 6 months. On that. So, but what I'd also advise is to make it clear what you're expected to achieve in the first few months. I found it very beneficial to be very clear with my new managers about what to expect. And my tip here would be to be conservative, to be what you're doing, just concentrate on sort of keeping the lights on. You'll have lots of great ideas, all these things you would have done when you were about to go for all the stuff you want, the new systems, the things you want to improve. You're going to have a lot to deal with. So I would advise just keep it conservative and along reliability. Second tips is know what you need to know. Can I just ask, is the audio okay? I'm getting very distracted by that, so I'll just make sure that's okay. So know what you need to know. If you're lucky enough to have a handover, my advice would be to concentrate on the why, ask the why questions. You can usually figure out the what by looking through code, looking for any documentation, but it's the why questions that I found the most helpful. So why questions for me was, why did we use that technology, that framework? Why have we got this legacy system that we've never upgraded? Or why is that part of the process still manual? This helped a lot because 6 months after, you're not seeing this bit of code that makes no sense, but you're too terrified to take it out because it was done for a reason. And just take it as read that the one thing that you didn't cover on handover will break the week they leave. So that's fine. But you also find out who the people are that you can deal with. So for me, these were oracles. These are the people that know the answers to the why questions, why the company have done it that way, why the things. Usually people that have got a bit of experience. I'd also say, who are the helpers? Who are the people that know the systems and know how it's implemented on the ground? Very rarely are these people found in the boardroom. They're found usually on the shop floor, and again, have been doing it for there. But you've also again got to identify the spanners. These are people that will probably not be able to do much to help you achieve your project goals, but boy, can they put a spanner in the works. In my experience, usually accountants or HR. But these are people that have got to be kept on side and are still important people that you've now got to influence with. So going on in my sort of year thing, one of the things I really struggled with was the context switching. Going from trying to do my dev work to trying to respond to a request with requirements from a product manager, to then each time the help desk pinged with a problem, I was jumping on it because I was the new person. I wanted to show the business could have faith in me and we'd get things fixed immediately. But what this meant was that I was just jumping from one thing to another, and I never really got into the flow, and that affected my work and also my stress levels. So what I've found to combat this is, one of the big advices I would give in the first few months, as I said, you might have lots of great plans, all these technologies you think the company should be using, but really for the first few months, while you're taking all this information in about what you should know, what the company does, all these people's, just concentrate on keeping the lights going, keeping the systems working. Been a lot of change, your team will be doing the storming and norming thing, so just try to go for some stability and reliability. That's what would be my first advice. Time management is key. Obviously get those do not disturb thing and make sure they're abided by, including your people higher than you. It can't just be on the thing. And what I found to be a great help for me was managing by exception. And this was when I would just I'd give an engineer saying, right, you're responsible for the help desk today. Call me if you've got problems, but if you don't, I'll assume everything's fine. So that meant I didn't have to keep jumping on things to deal with it, and I would be able to concentrate on more things that I was meant to be concentrating on. But obviously, when you're managing by exception, you can't do that all the time. And this is going over to my next sort of point, which is you are not the primary focus of you anymore. You've now got a team to manage, and you've got people to influence on that. And it's not just about the technical discussions, these wider discussions about business processes, just what people's pain points are very useful. I didn't get, right, you've given me your requirements, I've said what we need to do, why are we continuing this conversation? So I've had to learn that this wider conversation about how things are going is very important. And one of my big mistakes over this last year and a half is I didn't ask those questions about how people were. What happened was I had this junior engineer. He kept coming. He came with technical problems he was having. I would sort of help him. I would explain how it worked, the framework, but I never stopped and asked the question, how are you feeling? It was all sort of technical discussions. And unfortunately, he then left, and on the exit interview was very sort of, I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel that. So that was a sort of a blow for me. It was a very surprise to me, because I thought, well, we're dealing with the technical issues. The technical issues are being dealt with. But just in my want to prove my technical ability for this role, I did forget that there's also the sort of human management that can have impact. So that was a sort of mistake that I've tried to learn from in that. So you've got to take the time to talk to people and just find out how they're feeling. So my next sort of tip is just after you've been in the new job 6 months, you're hopefully, you've sort of made a name for yourself, you've got where you want to be, this is now time to sort of reflect. Know thyself has always been kind of something I've always pushed, and just say, are you happy? Are you happy? Is this, you're kind of in the management track now, is this what you want to do? This will be on your CV, the recruiters will be making the assumptions about you. Is this what you want to be doing? And really make those decisions. But what I found, once you've got this wider appreciation, once you've kept the lights on, now's the time to start thinking about your technical challenges, your new projects, these legacy systems that you wonder why have never been upgraded. This is the time to upgrade them, because you've got now the time. And I found just taking that 6 months, just to 3 months, to sort of get wider and then start to implement the stuff going forward. The team was stronger, the team had made their bonds, so by not throwing things immediately, taking the time, not recognizing what the challenges might be in terms of just upgrade, that sort of thing, kept going. So that's been my quick talk. I'm not sure how quick it's been, but so here I am, year and a bit later. I've got through it. So it's been challenging. As a company that exports and imports to Europe a lot, Brexit was not fun. So I've learned to be very agile, to change things on the fly. But I'm happier. I'm happy I've grown as a manager, and it's something I want to keep going in my career. So I would advise people, just if you get this opportunity to become a manager by default or a leader by default, my advice would be to go to it, but always reflect on how you're feeling. Thank you. Yeah, now, well, there was meant to be 3 of us, but we've only identified
still got 5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
So we talked about like why and reflecting on it. Could you have said no? Would it have been wise to say? So you get into that meeting where they say you're going to be the new leader. Is it wise to say no in that meeting? It's not what you want. Is that the end of you at that business?
Wouldn't be the end, but it would obviously, you'd be marked, wouldn't you? I think it's thinking about where you want to be, your career go, and if you're just getting so stressed out by the sort of management aspect and you just don't enjoy what you're doing, then you've got to think about that. But yeah, sort of saying no is probably not, but don't think that it's not the company giving you a favor or giving you a string in your bow. You're helping them as well. So negotiation's key, I'd say. But yeah, saying no is very brave. Yep.
I was interested in the time management and do not disturb blocks.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe an example bunch of do not disturb blocks for you, or any time management further things you might thoughts, or how you.
Yeah. So time, as I said, time management was trying to block stuff in the calendar to do my thinking, doing my sort of research on the technologies. I had my do not disturb on Teams with 2 people that could go get through it. We're the product manager and my manager. After a year, that was dropped down to the product manager. So I think it is, you've got to be clear for time management about you are a do not disturb. That's not, don't book meetings. It is this, I need time to get into the flow. I think that's my answer in terms of you've got to book things to learn, book the time out, and don't feel guilty about it. You are in a new position. You are going to have a lot to learn. And even though there's going to be a lot of things to do. There'll be people wanting to talk to you about this system that's never worked while the old manager was there, but I'm sure you could do better. Which is why this is what went back to my why questions. Why have we never done that guy's request? So it helps you know why these things happen. So in time management, I'd say be very strict with it from the get-go. Expectations are key about what people, if you are open from day one, and you'll want to be seen to, because you've been promoted to this new position, you want to prove yourself being your team's reliable. So, but you've got to get that expectations managed. Okay, we'll now take a few minutes to hand over microphones and stuff. Thank you.